A splendid day to you all. Welcome to the pilot episode of Gracia Talk Hope Show. I am your host, Ishewa Ishe, and today on set I am joined by none other than the splendid and magnificently beautiful Melisa Mpofu. She is the founder of Young Voices Trust and is the spearhead and the brains behind an initiative called the Volunteer Model. Welcome, Melisa.
Thank you so much for having me, Ishe.
I'm so excited. I've heard quite a lot about you, and I'm sure our viewers are excited as well. So we're just going to be talking about her journey in getting into the film industry. As you know, this industry is mainly dominated by males, and it should be quite daunting to make a name for herself. So please tell me about that. How exactly did you come into the industry?
Well, for me, I should say my grace came through an initiative by Indwasa called the Amplifying Girls' Voices Through Digital Arts, which is a project run by 22 young girls to bring out the social issues that girls go through digital art, actually. So we do quite a number of things. We do magazines, we do podcasts, short films, and of course we do community screenings here and there, is it? So going into film writing, it was something new for me. It was something that I didn't necessarily plan to say I want to be in film writing, but because I'm an arts person and I've always had that interest, I applied for the project, got selected, and got in. That's how the journey started.
Okay, I heard you mention that you mainly talk about girls' issues. What issues in particular? What exactly sparked your interest?
Well, we mostly look at SRH issues because we understand that, especially for girls in Bulawayo, HIV prevalence for girls in Bulawayo is very high, and we seek to speak out about that. And not just HIV and SRH, we're talking about everything, date rape, we're talking about rape culture, we're talking of grooming, sexual grooming. So we bring issues that even young girls out there don't know are happening to them and actually wrong, you understand? So we do that through the varied mediums that we use for spreading the message.
That's actually a very interesting thing because these are topics that aren't usually discussed in our society, and Zimbabwe is quite a conservative nation at that. I'm interested, what media do you use? How exactly do you share your message?
We have our Facebook page, we have our YouTube channel at Amplifying Girls' Voices TV. That's where we post everything from the podcast to the skits to the short films. And to be honest, our short films are making hits. We started in July last year, but right now our very first film that was it was premiered in August has over 12,000 views as we speak. And
wow.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It was actually a short film on child marriages. And you know, the YouTube channel, to be honest, has been the best medium. Even the short film that I wrote, I'm at 2K, sits at over...
You wrote a film?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness.
So it sits at above 7K views right now. And it's only been released in December 2021.
Oh wow, that is amazing. You said it's called Ama 2K?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, are you a 2000 baby?
Yes, I
So
am.
am I. So what exactly is Ama 2K about?
It's a film that speaks to all issues that involve Ama 2K, but mostly when it comes to absent parenting and the issue of vuzu parties. As you know, Bulawayo actually has been like a little Sodom and Gomorrah, I must say, because that's where the highest numbers of vuzu parties has been recorded, and it's a call of concern because mostly it results in unwanted pregnancies, which lead to abortions. There's so many issues that come from it. So the inspiration behind Ama 2K was that bringing that idea to life to say it's not always that the whole message was it's not always that kids are pressured only by friends into making bad decisions, but what about the parents? How are they contributing to it? How do we create those conversations that bring the parents and the children together? And how do we create or how do we propose coping mechanisms for youths who are, in the community, such that they don't find themselves in bad situations?
Okay, I love the concept. So just for someone who doesn't know, what exactly is a Vuzu party? Because I believe that we're on the same wavelength, but someone who's listening may not be on that same wavelength.
Yeah, Vuzu party is a nasty kind of party. Yeah, where there's been research on what exactly are Vuzu parties, but conclusively, it's a party whereby there's drugs, there's drug abuse, there's alcohol abuse, there's some sextortion that happens. There are some nasty things that happen. People playing sex games and all of that. And you could actually, that's where the HIV comes from.
Okay.
You have been drunk, you've been drugged, and you have slept with I don't know how many boys in one night. What happens about what about the diseases? What about the pregnancies? What about the effects, emotional effects of that? So yeah, that's basically a Vuzu party in general.
That's actually one of the topics that is mainly talked about a lot in the development space, especially trying to find out exactly what is causing young people to indulge in this. Because my understanding is that you get into a space and you have as much sex as you want with whoever you want. Doesn't matter the number of people, you just generally have sex. And these are the things that we need to talk about as young people so that people understand how they're able to make informed decisions. Because as they get into these spaces, unwanted pregnancies is not something that they're thinking about. HIV is definitely not something that they're thinking about.
It's a game.
And I'm really happy that you're talking about how it's not just peer pressure that can lead young people into going to these places. It also comes from the home. How exactly are parents engaging with their children? So I just want to know, in terms of the film industry, for you, what have you encountered as your challenges so far?
Well, I could say the biggest challenge of all, genuinely, not just for me, I would say is the acting part. I'm not an actor. As you can tell, I cannot act, but I can write. So I've been a scriptwriter, I've been the brains behind the scenes, you understand? But it's not really a challenge, it's a privilege because you get to pencil a character, which is something that is unique and it takes a lot of skill. But some other challenges could involve the issue of resources. It's very hard for you to pull off a film, especially as a young person, which has been hard for many people. A lot of people have been relying on, phones and shooting and all of that because it takes a lot to pull off a movie. And another challenge that I feel that we face as young people in general is the publicity and the recognition of our films. We can't all say all our films are going to YouTube, you understand? Because now YouTube is the one-stop portal for everything now. You find films, you find podcasts, you find everything, but it shouldn't be like that. Why can't we showcase our films on national TV? Why can't we introduce them onto international level? You understand? So those are some of the challenges that we go through.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. So for just probably a young lady who's listening, I would like to know specifically the challenges that affect young women within the industry. Because I've mentioned that the industry is mainly dominated by men. So most likely, there should be some challenges that are just specific for young women.
Yeah, that's actually true, and there are quite a lot. But I'll just mention a few that include sexual exploitation. To be honest, as I was saying, that as much as getting resources is hard, having a team to work with is harder. You find producers who take advantage of young girls simply because they want to be on the screen, simply because they have an idea that they want to put into play, you understand? So those are some of the things that young girls go through. You get sexually exploited because you don't have the resources to get you where you want to go. And you face recognition is very hard. Exposure and recognition is very hard. So now you have to engage with influential people who sometimes push their own agenda using you, you understand? So you get used sometimes and you don't see it simply because you want to go where you believe you are meant to go. But it's not always the case for some people. Some people use you and tomorrow you're dead news. Yeah. So yeah, that's just about it.
So how exactly have you been able to make sure that you ride above these challenges and still come up with all these achievements that you've had?
Well, luckily for me, I built my personal brand before venturing into film. I've been a philanthropist since 2020 up to now, and because I engage so much in social media and advertising the work that I do, taking up new opportunities, I always make sure I have a challenge for myself for the consistency. So I built my name before getting into the film industry. Not that I'm big, but but the fact that I had a basis whereby I have an audience that can listen to me whenever I speak, that was something bigger for me, you understand? So when I got into film and told people about it, I've gotten into this, the excitement was just a lot. Because I remember even at the launch of my film in December, the SK studio was packed. We had to screen it twice.
Oh wow.
Yes, the numbers
That's
were
massive.
above 100. A lot of young people and parents as well, which made it more exciting, you understand? So yeah, I've been trying by all means to keep up the consistency. And working with organizations, as much as it's difficult to approach people with an idea because we all fear that they're going to steal it from us. But you have to entrust people sometimes. A person can steal an idea from you, but they can't execute it the way you would have.
Exactly.
You understand? Mm-hmm. So that's another challenge that we go through, but the best way to overcome it is to trust your gut. If it says work with someone, go and try, because that's where your luck might be.
I like that. I'm just going to pick on something that you mentioned. You mentioned that you already had built a name for yourself. Mm-hmm. So for someone who's listening, who's trying to build a name, I understand that building a name is not exactly an easy thing. Mm-hmm. But what exactly do you think are important factors to consider when you're trying to build a name? What aspects, what attributes should one have mm-hmm. for them to associate to their name? What's important?
Well, it depends on your intentions as a person. How do you want people to see you? When someone says Melisa, what should they think about? What's the first thing that should come to their mind? That's how you're supposed to strategize. You need a proper plan to say, okay, here's my target audience. I'm talking to these and these people. Of course, other people will listen, but my message is mainly for these people. But then you post whatever you're posting according to that audience. You do whatever activities you're doing according to that audience. For me, I'm mostly passionate about children and girls and youths in general, you understand? So most of my work is targeted towards that. Not that I don't support other things, but you have to find a way to be consistent, be relevant, and ultimately to network. Networking is everything when it comes to building a brand. Your networks are your net worth. That's the truth. So you make sure that whatever strikes your interest, get to know the people who are in that industry. You're doing philanthropy, right? Get to know who is in the industry, who can actually be maybe an icon and a role model, or maybe even a mentor.
I like that. I especially noted that in everything that she said, she mainly emphasized on the importance to niche down. So as much as you may have a message, you need to niche down right to who your people are. Who exactly do you want to listen to you? So that's one of the ways that you can build a name in the industry. It's not everyone who's going to be able to listen to you. Not everyone is going to be interested in your craft. But you need to be able to identify the people for whom your message is specifically tailored for. And also networking. I understand as young people, we generally, when we meet up, hardly ever do we talk about things that have value. True. But that's something that we actually need to stop, especially if we want to thrive in this industry. So we need to be able to network and to just, as she said, network. Your network is your net worth. I hope I got it right?
Yes.
Awesome. So just please share with us as we run down, what do you want to achieve probably in the next year? You may not share your whole life plans, but just like in the next year, what exactly do you want to achieve?
For me, it goes far beyond just my self-development into film, but empowering other young girls into the industry. As you were saying before, that it's a male-dominated industry. Why don't we have more female scriptwriters? Why don't we have more young girls who are into directing? So it's about getting more girls to actually, participate in these programs, getting more girls trained to do certain things, even if it's acting, you understand? Because it's very hard for someone who's 18 or in the school, or maybe 16, to get into a film school. It's pretty expensive for some people. But it's something that I've been doing out of passion. That's why I've been doing it voluntarily, to teach people on whatever I know. So yeah, that's the ultimate goal, besides my own, progression into, because I do plan on getting into a film school and doing the proper way of making films, and maybe making it to Hollywood one day.
That's awesome. We'll definitely watch your movies. Definitely. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Catch us next time as we have yet another guest. Thank you so much, Melisa, for talking to us.